So I'm Grant Breitkreutz from just northwest of town here, from Rio's headquarters. Trevor's been talking about this project, so I asked to come in and look at it. I've been growing corn for over 30 years, northwest of town here, obviously multiple crops and livestock. And the interest in this product, I just wanted to see what was happening before we get to the growing season here in Minnesota. So Trevor allowed me in here the other day, and it's pretty neat to see what we got going on here. Right now this corn is basically in its stage where it's going to determine the ear diameter, the ear length, kernels per row, kernels around, and it's just amazing to see the difference that we have here in these plants. This is untreated. It looks a little different than it did the other day. The other day it was really pale, but today the colors are about the same. But the width of the ear or leaf is at least twice as wide on the treated. Obviously plant height, Trevor told me he did some measurements here. There's significant difference here, but just the overall plant health, these plants have some issues with the leaves. They're obviously showing some deficiencies. These look very healthy, progressing right along. So I ran into Pete in a local supply store here, and I asked him, I said, "What are you doing today, Pete?" And he said, "I'm coming to buy soil for 10 to 15 lick tubs." I said, "You're crazy." I said, "You're gonna buy the place out, it's gonna be expensive." I said, I'll figure out a way to get you some soil." So the soil is actually from my farm. It was 25 below the day we got the soil out, and then they brought it in, warmed it up, and planted the corn the 2nd of March. So it's all the soil off of my place. There's no way Pete could have done anything to predetermine what's in each one of these tubs, because it was cold and we were working fast, and so that way the soil is all the same. The only thing I know is that they treated one and not treated the other. Trevor just mentioned that this was treated about 2 weeks ago, and corn at this stage, I mean, what we see on the farm, this is when it's the most important to have the right nutrients available to these plants. So 14 days of actual treatment here, the difference is visible, and we'll see this out in our cornfields also. If we're putting on 28%, I mean, if we're short on something in our cornfields, this is the timing to apply it and see the difference in the plants. Yeah, and besides the obvious difference in leaf width, you can see the stem diameter between the two plants is, well, without measuring it, it's got to be just about twice as thick on the stems on all of it. So very noticeable difference. So with the product being used here, the idea is to feed the biology in the soil, and over our years of transitioning our farm, we finally realized that the key to healthy plants, key to healthy livestock is healthy soil. It all comes back to soil health, and it's key to work on feeding the biology in the soil more than propping it up with synthetic fertilizers or fungicides or insecticides. In our operation, we don't use any of those anymore. So it basically all comes back to soil health. We got to feed the biology in the soil, whether that's through cover crops or a product like this. That's key to making healthy plants, healthy livestock. So crops are really no different than livestock. If we're feeding them right with the right products, the right nutrient density, everything functions as it's supposed to. No need for antibiotics. Same thing happens with crops, grain crops. If the soil health is there, the plant can naturally fight off the insects, the pests, the fungus, all of those types of things. So once again, like I said, it all comes back to soil health and making sure that's proper. Then the plant has the natural capabilities of fighting off everything we're currently fighting in agriculture. On our farm, we don't use treated seed anymore. We don't use fungicides. We don't use insecticides because we've focused on the soil biology and improving that and making that proper. An animal that's being fed right doesn't get sick. A crop that's being fed right by the soil doesn't get sick. So as I stated before, Dawn and I don't use insecticides, fungicides, that type of stuff. There is a weaning process to the soil. The soil is addicted to what we in current production agriculture have been doing. So step by step, we reduce one or the other input or reduce the amount of that as the soil health changes and becomes healthy again. And we slowly have reduced all those synthetic inputs on our farm. It's a word of caution. We've had some wrecks on our farm as we transitioned away from the current products in agriculture. There is a weaning process to the soil, and it takes time. It takes time to fix soil. It takes time to heal grass. It takes time to do all that. But if we work with Mother Nature and help her and give her the ability to heal itself again, it will heal itself, and we can get away from a lot of the crutches we use in agriculture. With the elections that have happened, we're in a different time in agriculture right now. We're really being pushed to reduce our synthetics, change the way we farm. I hope that we as producers can figure out a different way of production before we're mandated and regulated into it. Mandates and regulations do not work from farm to farm, ranch to ranch, because none of us will ever do anything the same. And when we lay a blanket mandate over the top of us, that's never a good thing, because we all farm and ranch different. But if we can focus on weaning ourselves off of these synthetics and making soil health a priority, hopefully we appease all those that want to change and mandate what we're doing on our farms and ranches.